And good morning, Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Here's the 10:45 a.m. Wednesday, October 30th forecast. We have a big ridge of higher pressure off to the south of us, kind of like the Bermuda High. It continues to stream in extra moisture, but also very warm temperatures, basically in the 70s. These are going to be heading toward Vermont, and we're going to see some of our daytime highs land out in the 70s on Thursday. This will be kind of a transition day with much warmer conditions. This indeed is a warm front here. This is going to be pulling away and pushing on out of the region, giving way to increasing amounts of sunshine, especially western Vermont. It's going to be a little harder to get that in eastern Vermont, and typically the Green Mountains kind of separate west to east, and you hold on to a lot of low-level cloudiness. So it may be late in the day, but we should get some hints of sunshine, and there will be some high overcast pushing in as well. This is a cold front, as we have the warm front, what we call the triple center here occluded, and then a cold front, and that is going to be pushing in even some severe weather. Places like Kansas, out in the portions of the Midwest, Tornado Alley regions. A little bit of a flare-up here for late October, almost early November. Warmer temperatures is the rule. Looking at the top of Mount Mansfield this morning, even at the top, we're not seeing any snowfall now, so a lot of that has melted out from this morning as warmer air is advecting into the region. Looking at the SPC mesoanalysis, what we can see for the country here, the west coast, the east coast, a big ridge of higher pressure out to the east, big trough of lower pressure in the west, and indeed we're seeing that with much colder temperatures across this particular region. This is the jet stream level, though. We see basically a pretty strong jet coming in from the Pacific Ocean underneath this trough of lower pressure, and then rounding up over the top of this ridge of higher pressure, and this is where the warm front is. This is all going to be lifting back a little bit further to the north. Looking at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet. Then we're going to take you down to about 10,000 feet. This is the 700 millibar moisture, or hectopascals, and this is the arc of mid-level cloudiness. A lot of high-level moisture with this warm front. Taking you down a little bit further, we're going to look at the 850 analysis about the top of Mount Mansfield, about that altitude. And we can see a very strong lifting mechanism, but not over Vermont. That's the reason why we're not seeing any precip right now. Again, 925, about base lodge levels of our major mountains. You can see there's a real cutoff here. This is where the cold front's located. Much colder air to the west, warmer and more humid air to the east. Again, circulating around this like Bermuda High, and then circulating into the northeast U.S. And here's a picture of these higher dew points that are coming in off the Gulf of Mexico. Some of that's going to be working our way. Okay, this is anomalous temperatures. This is well above normal temperatures, running about 12, 13, 14 degrees Fahrenheit. This is below normal temperatures. I think this is actually Celsius, so it's even more than Fahrenheit, Celsius. So colder than normal out west. Here's that frontal boundary. What is it going to do? Let's just run the model. You can see that we're seeing kind of a push of that area of higher pressure, but still very warm, anomalous temperatures until this colder weather begins to work on in, coming over the top of another ridge of higher pressure. This is valid Friday night. So as we get into this Friday night period, you can see a little bit of colder, and then look what happens again. Recharge out of the Gulf of Mexico, area of higher pressure, once again, almost situated exactly where we have it right now currently. So influx of warm anomalous conditions are back with us. This is going to promote an oscillation pattern. Look at that. That's pretty significant. Yet again, 12 to 14 degrees Celsius above normal here. This is going to be valid for the middle part of next week, the 6th of November. Heading a little bit further along, we can take you a little further out here. We get a little bit of neutralized air, slightly cooler than normal conditions. Look at all the heat build up again across Canada. Weird. Very slow start to snow season for a good portion of North America. Canada's seeing it. The West Coast a little bit better. The western interior sections especially. But the East Coast, with this oscillating kind of temperature scenario, cold, warm, it only continues a little bit more on the warm side. This is mid-November as we look further out in time, and you can see some colder air in the Pacific Northwest. And this is kind of how the winter's going to be setting up. Very similar pattern for a good portion of the first half of the winter. Different conditions for the last half of the winter. Strictly clouds, we're looking at a lot of mid and low-level cloudiness, and that's going to be exiting the region to some high clouds. That's that bluer color there. Running the model, going to continue to see a lot of high cloudiness and a little bit of breaks in the clouds at times. We get into a little bit of hints of sunshine, but then another frontal boundary will work on in. This is that cold front. This is the storm system. This will be kind of a triple point here, warm front, occluded front, an area of low pressure that's going to basically track to the north of us here through Canada. So as it does, it'll provide us with a little bit of backlash, cloudiness again. This is valid once we get into basically Friday night and then into the day on Saturday. Some leftover low clouds, but eventually a ridge of higher pressure will build back into the region and bring us more sunshine with this clearer sky. This is valid right now for Sunday as we look forward to the weekend. European AI model, what we can see here is that warm front exiting, pushing on out of the region, the circulation like this. And so, when's the next precip? Right there. And that's going to be basically as we get into Thursday night. And it kind of lingers with a little bit of spotty precipitation into the day on Friday. Temperature is cold enough, maybe a little bit of wet snowflake action at some point there. High pressure builds in, dries it on out. We're looking at sunnier conditions working in for this coming Sunday. That'll be followed by another warm front, and so on and so forth. You can see how the pattern is just kind of repeating itself with a lot of predominance of kind of an area of higher pressure near the Bermuda area and then back into the middle Atlantic states. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.